Hello, this is my favorites video. I'm filming this on Tuesday. I'm just so tired and I don't have any other time to film it, so here it is. Um, I thought I would start off with my favorite shows, and we all know I love Doctor Who. I'm a Whovian. I'm pretty obsessed with Doctor Who. I haven't seen any of the um, like pre-9 episodes, but I really, really want to. And I thought they had all of them on Netflix, but apparently they don't. They just have a few of them. But yeah, I'd like to catch up on those. I'm really picky about shows and movies and books and pretty much everything. But especially shows. There aren't very many shows that I like. But I think TV as like a medium is getting a lot better than it was. So I really like Sons of Anarchy. It's amazing. If you don't watch it, you should. It's gonna like rip your heart out. But um, I think a lot of people think that it's going to be some stupid like super macho motorcycle show, which I mean part of it is, but it's really really well written and it's just really good. I love Battlestar Galactica. I just started watching that. I'm almost done on Netflix, and I've like been staying up really late watching it. I really love Battlestar Galactica, and I never thought I would be like a sci-fi kind of person, but apparently I am. I really like cooking shows, but I'm saying so many ums. I'm sorry. I'm trying to film this like really quickly because I can't do it over again. Uh, I don't like Paula Dino, and I don't like Rachel Ray or anything like that. I really do like Nigella Lawson. I really like the way she speaks. She's really eloquent. She has a really large vocabulary, and the way she describes things is just amazing. Even if she's not vegan and I'm a vegan, I think about how to like veganize things that she's making, and it just looks so good. She just seems like such a cool person. Um, I really love Shameless. I've just gotten into that. Uh, yeah, I mean it is what the show what the title is. It's shameless. A lot of the stuff that they do, but it's really really good and there's really good storylines. And Jeremy Allen White is a guy that plays Lip, and he is going to be one of like our generation's big actors. I think he's just amazing. And William H Macy has always been amazing. And who else is in it? The girl that plays Fiona, what's her name? Amir Awesome. She's really good. And she has that range from going from like Phantom of the Opera to Shameless, which is really cool. Uh, I really like the Smithsonian Channel on demand. I watch it all the time. I'm such a nerd. Every show that I like, pretty much, except for Sons of Anarchy. I guess that gives me some like cool points. But mostly, I like really nerdy stuff. My favorite movies, I mentioned in our intro that I love Days of Heaven by Terrence Malick, and that is like my number one favorite movie. But I also really love Inglourious Basterds. I've seen it like 20 times. I love Almost Famous. I've seen that a million and one times too, even though it's super long. Especially throughout high school. I watched it constantly. I was obsessed with wanting to be Penny Lane and all of that. Even though I don't really date musicians. That's kind of a role of mine. I don't date people shorter than me, and I don't date musicians. But yeah, just her as a person and how strong she was and how individual she was as a character. I don't know, I really liked her. Um, I just watched This Is England yesterday, which is amazing, by Shane Meadows. If you can if you can understand the accents. At first, I thought like, oh shit, I'm gonna need subtitles, but it's really good, and you sort of get the hang of it after a while. You get used to it, and it's amazing. And in that same vein, I really like American History X. They're both about racism and skinheads and everything, and it's just incredible. And by incredible, I obviously mean I like that people are writing about subjects that are maybe taboo or people think that are too heavy to write about. Not that racism, obviously, is incredible. That's not what I meant. But too, but the kid in This Is England is younger. And yeah, they both lost their dads and stuff, but they're just really good. I really like The Descendants, weirdly. I'm usually not a huge fan of stuff George Clooney is in. I don't really dislike him as an actor. I just don't really like some of the choices that he makes. But that was just amazing, and I watched it like 4 times. And I don't know. It kind of like resonates on a personal level, I guess. to be vague. I really love A Streetcar Named Desire, of course, with like young Marlon Brando, and older Marlon Brando was amazing. He was kind of crazy in his personal life, but as an actor, he's just amazing. And I loved Catch a Thief with Grace Kelly. She's just classic and she's so pretty. And I'm not an Audrey Hepburn fan. I'm more of a Grace Kelly kind of person. Um, I love Fight Club, which I feel like is a pretty stereotypical answer. Little Women, as you all know, I have a weird obsession with it. I like the 94, I think, maybe adaptation of the book. I watch it like all the time. My mom used to watch it all the time when I was little and she read the book, so I don't know. I just always loved it. I love the Harry Potter movies, even though obviously they're imperfect, but they're just really good. And I like when I don't necessarily want to watch something new and I don't want to get really into something or whatever, then I'll just watch Harry Potter movies, and it always makes me want to write. Like, I always have inspiration after reading Harry Potter or watching the movies. And leaves a good segue to get into my favorite books. My favorite book for the longest time, and even now it's one of my favorite books, is Cherry by Mary Karr. She's really known for her first book, which is called The Liars Club, I believe, which I liked. And she wrote another book called Lit, which is about her adult years and a struggle with alcoholism. But Cherry doesn't really get a lot of attention. It's sort of about her teenage years and growing up in high school and everything. And I read it when I was in high school, and I really resonated with a lot of it. So, I don't know. I think you can read a book and it might not necessarily be the best book ever, but if you read it at the right time, it means a lot to you. And I think that's kind of how I feel about that book, even though I think it's really well written. I love her style, and I love the way she speaks, and it's just really, she's a badass, and I really like it. I love Neil Gaiman. I love Stardust and Fragile Things, The Graveyard Book, Coraline. Those are the only books of his I've read so far. I am reading American Gods currently, and it's really good, but he's just amazing. I love how you can just enter like this whole other world, and excuse me, like I keep doing little tiny burps in these. I don't know if it's like nervous burping. I don't know. But anyway, I really like how you enter into this other world, and he's really creative, and I don't know. I love his choice of words. I love like the scenery that he sets up. It's also like gothic and cool, and I just love him. And I love The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, which was amazing. I was going through like this dry spell where like I would start reading a book and I would put it down because I didn't like it, and I was like, I'm never gonna like books again because everything that I read I didn't like. Because I'm really picky, like I said before, but The Book Thief really changed that, ended my dry spell. And it's really creative too. It's written from the perspective of Death, or like the Grim Reaper, even though it says that he's not really like the Grim Reaper with the scythe and everything. But it's like life changing. It's one of those ones that I would recommend to anyone of any age, anytime. It's about the Holocaust, and well, not so much about. I mean, obviously it involves the Holocaust, but it's about World War II Germany. But the girl wasn't necessarily like, she wasn't Jewish, and she was in the Holocaust, but there are Jewish characters, obviously. But it's not focused on like concentration camps or anything like that necessarily. Which is also a new take, and he based it on like his parents' experiences in World War II Germany. Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón is amazing. The Harry Potter books, obviously. Little Women, obviously. The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova is one of my favorite books, and it really made me want to visit like Eastern Europe, and I've never really been that interested in it, but she did so much research for it, and it's so detailed, and it's just amazing. And she did another book called The Swan Thief, and I was so excited for it, but it's just not as good. I didn't like it very much. I don't think I even finished it. But maybe it's because it's really hard to measure up to The Historian, her first book, but it was just amazing, and I hope she writes more. I didn't know whether to put William Shakespeare in my favorite poets or my favorite book section, because he's kind of in the middle there, but I love the sonnets, Macbeth, A Midsummer Night's Dream, and Othello are my favorites. I don't really like Romeo and Juliet because I'm with the sort of camp that says that it's actually a comedy and not real, and it always just, even when I was younger, I thought it was just a really stupid love story, if it was a love story. but it doesn't seem like he would write something like that, just his personality. I read a lot of biographies on him, and he seemed like he was kind of, I mean, he was really smart, and he seemed kind of like he had that, like, I hate to use the term troll, but I don't really know. Like, the internet's taken over my brain. I don't know any other term to use. But he had that sort of sarcastic kind of personality, and he was really anti-authority or whatever. And so I don't think that he actually wrote that as a romance or whatever. It was a love story. But I love him, of course. My favorite poets: Odin, Whitman, Cummings, Plath, Mary Oliver, Frank O'Hara, and Shakespeare again, because obviously a poet as well. And I sort of struggle between Walt Whitman and Odin being my two favorites. I really love Odin's. I mean, sometimes he's optimistic, but towards the end of his life, like there's a quote in what is it? One of his poems where he says, "We must love one another or die," and I quoted it in one of my books that I wrote. And I can't remember the date, but it's a date, of course. I can't remember the numbers. I can never remember numbers. But it was written either right in the middle of World War II or right before it started. And there's a quote in there where it says, "We must love one another or die." And towards the end of his life, he wanted that taken out of all of his books because he didn't like it. But I really love it because I'm an optimist. And it's just, he's just amazing. Like, these visuals that he makes are just amazing. And I love Walt Whitman for the same thing. He's so positive, and I try to be a positive person, and I try to think of the good things in life and everything. And I really like that about him. And it's all about love and giving love. And I'm not necessarily a big fan of, not that I don't think there's a place for it, but I'm not a big fan of like darker poetry. Like Plath is obviously, she can be really dark. I don't really like, I mean, I like Edgar Allan Poe, but he's not one of my favorites. He's not like if I was on a desert island, I wouldn't take it with me. I'd take Odin or Whitman. I'd probably take Leaves of Grass, actually. And I love Mary Oliver for her visuals and just everything. She's amazing. And I love Frank O'Hara because his is really unconventional, I think, at least in terms of what I read. And E. Cummings is really a lot like that as well. And he writes a lot about New York, or New York City, which I'm not a city girl, but there's something about the way he writes about it that makes me want to visit it. And I just thought that was really cool because I went there when I was little, my aunt lived there, and I've been there a few times, and I like it, but I would never want to live there. But the way he writes about it makes me want to. And I think that's the hallmark of like a really good writer, to make you want to do things or go places that you never thought of, like I said with this historian and wanting to visit Eastern Europe. My favorite bands and solo artists was The Hardest, and I could go on, so I'm just going to go through this list that I've written here. Rancid, The Distillers, The Clash, Bikini Kill, David Bowie, Iggy Pop, Rolling Stones, The Beatles, Led Zeppelin, The Who, The Strokes, Brand New, Damien Rice, Adele, Neil Young, Bright Eyes, Florence and the Machine, Ray LaMontagne, Patty Griffin, Lucinda Williams, Stevie Wonder, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Beyonce, Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash, and Miranda Lambert are my favorites. That was really hard to do. It's like picking your children. The books is really hard to do too. Everything. It's hard for me to pick my favorites. But I'm also really picky. It's a weird thing that I have going on. But yeah, that's my video. Oh, we want to do places. The favorite place that I've ever been. I haven't really traveled a lot. I would love to. The favorite place that I've never been would be, I've always wanted to go to anywhere in the UK and to Ireland. I've always wanted to go to Sweden. Anywhere, like, in the Nordic countries. I'm really obsessed with, like, their style and their government and the way they, like, their history and everything. I just think the Nordic countries are so amazing. And Eastern Europe, like I said, I'd really like to go to. I've never really wanted to go to China or Korea or Japan or anything. My ex lived there when we were, like, together, and I've never been interested in it for some reason. Maybe someday I'll change my mind. I probably will, because it's me. But one day, maybe. But I've never really been interested in it. Where else? I've always wanted to go to Italy, but not as much as like the Nordic countries of the UK or whatever. And I've always wanted to go out west in America because I've never been. I've been to Colorado, and that's as far as I've been, and that was amazing. I don't know. Like I've been to beaches, but they've all been East Coast beaches, and they're not really cool. And I've been in New York City, but I'm not a city girl. Um, so I think that's good though. I have yet to find my favorite place, and I'm looking forward to looking for it. So that's how I'm going to end the video. Bye.